Hey guys, I'm back. I had to go there. Oh, hey, how are you? Let's get your reading started. All right. So, I'll continue with a free yes and no crystal ball in a bit. I'm going to do this paid reading. Hey, Zach, so what is your question for your reading? This reading that you got is based on a question, basically or a concern, but it has like a question format. How can I help you? No, this kind of reading isn't general. It's tailor-made for a question. Year readings are huge. I do offer those, but they take a few hours because they look into the whole year. This one is 10 cards. So even if I did the tarot wheel, which is one card for each month, it still wouldn't be enough for all the months. You know what I mean? So I do year readings with astrology. I do 6 months with astrology. I do those kinds of things for horoscopes. But this one in particular is for one concern or question. That's the thing. I can't do medical readings. Anxiety is psychological. Yeah. We can definitely discuss some of it, but I can't do a reading on it because as a small business, there's legalities where you can't. It would be like, psychic work can't delve into the psychological unless you're a licensed psychologist. So besides, the psyche and spiritual are very different animals. So you can't really merge it. But anyway, yes, so anxiety and panic, sometimes it's together. It is a disorder. It does have a root cause. It has to be diagnosed by a licensed professional, as I'm sure you know, and maybe you have because, you're saying you have anxiety. I think all the time I've known you, you've always had anxiety, right? Yeah, I think so. I remember. We could definitely discuss it, but I can't base the reading on it. You know what I mean? Because then that would be diagnosing. So let's see. So usually I would say to you, if there's a problem in your life that you want guidance on, like a career or a relationship or maybe lack thereof, there's got to be something when you go to the root of what's bothering you, or maybe what you're worried about or what you desire. That's a great reading. So just go to the focal point of where you want advice, where you want clarity. Unfortunately, I don't know what the past is, it could be trauma based on what you're saying. If you want the past to go away, that would be therapy. Readings are not therapy. You know what I mean? Because as I'm sure you well know, because I remember you were gonna either go into law or medicine, so you're very, very intelligent, very educated. So I'm sure you know that in the psychic world, we cannot pretend we're surgeons or something like that. So my job is the spiritual, not the psychological. It seems like you're very psychologically inclined. Yeah. So unless you want to discuss, like, for example, hear me out. Let's say that a person was robbed, right, in their home. Let's say that they were robbed and they got PTSD from it. I'm just making this up. Just let's go with it. And they became maybe agoraphobic by it, right? And they've been doing a lot on their own to get rid of that. That part's very real. But what if they want a reading knowing if their home's going to be infiltrated? That's a reading. I can do a reading saying to that person, look, there is a scenario, your house is being circulated, you should get surveillance, and the person saw you outside of a post office, whatever. That's a reading, because you're asking me, is this factual, that you're seeing it in the future? But if the person asks me, am I going to heal from the agoraphobia? I'm going to say, that's a question for your psychologist or psychiatrist. You know what I mean? That's in the mental health field. I'm in the spiritual, which is past, present, future. I'm a diviner. So that's what I'm saying to you. I don't mind, I'm not trying to be difficult, sweetie. I've always done readings for you, very happy. But I've always done readings for you with love or career, mainly career. There was a time I know we addressed, the anxiety part, which was very real, but that was a magical thing. That is in a different category. But mainly I've done a lot of job readings. I remember that being the heavy theme. I can be of help, but I can't offer anything psychological, unfortunately. So if you're afraid of a person in particular, if you're involved with someone that can do what, repeat that intention, that's a question I can ask. Yeah, no, that's okay. So obviously, so hang on, let me see something. Obviously your anxiety is overactive lately. Well, logic tells me that anxiety has a trigger. You don't have to be, you could be a regular person and understand that everything that causes anxiety has a trigger. There's a root trigger. So that means it's something what triggers you may not be aware of. Maybe you have a multitude of things that trigger it. I'm sure a licensed therapist would take you through the identification of what those triggers are, because that's their forte, that's their arena. That is not my arena. So what I'm saying is, let's see. Training is asking, how do you know if you have a gift for tarot? I would love to answer that question. I do teach it and coach, but I'm in the middle of a paid reading, sweetie. I don't want to interrupt with my client. Let's see, but thank you for your question. There is, there's a trigger that is obviously going off. And sometimes there are things in the atmosphere, there are things, in the spiritual sense, like astrology and emotions and things, a spiritual energy, that can also cause a stress. But in reality, it's coming from the psyche. Yes, it's related, but it's also in the psyche. No, not really. It wouldn't. The lunar eclipse passed, and the lunar eclipse in Pisces was not about that. In fact, it was an erotic moon, so it would have been a very passionate moon. The lunar passed, and the solar's not here yet, and you wouldn't be affected by the solar in that way. If you were a double Leo, I could understand, but no, it would not have that effect. Yes, there are obviously astrological things, and specifically to your chart, there can be a transit going on, or a progression or something going on that's triggering something, but that wouldn't be the reason. It would just make the atmosphere, the environment, the energy that you're dealing with more intense, but it's not the cause. So if you had a traumatic situation occur in your past and you're afraid of it repeating, there are things that you deal with that can be triggering that. And that's what would cause the overdrive. Another thing would be diet. It's been proven. A person that has a lot of processed foods, a lot of things with processed oils, and caffeine, nicotine, processed sugar, that also is, detrimental to, a person's ease when they have anxiety, especially caffeine and, other things that are stimuli. So diet, lack of sleep, and also triggers can affect that as well. So you got to be thinking, is your diet the best it can be? Are you overdoing caffeine? Are you sleeping deeply? And these are things that also play a deep role. But being aware of what triggers you is very important. All right. Now, let me see. Because I would do a general, but it can confuse you. If you want, I will go ahead and do a general if you want. But the thing is, the caveat is when I do the reading, it might bring up some things if you would like that. It's just not the design of the reading. But if I aim to please, so I will do that for you if you'd like. It just doesn't fit the mold of this kind of reading. But if you can't think of a question, I will dive in, okay? But please, by all means, give it some thought what I said. Okay, no, not a problem. No, I apologize too. I feel bad because, I used to do generals all the time and I just changed them. And the reason is because I would do generals for people and it would bring stuff up and then they would not want to deal with those things. They would say, oh, I really don't want to talk about that. And I'd say, but it's coming up. Oh, it stresses me. I can't. And then I would say, but what do you want me to do? It's the reading. So then I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. I'm doing it question-based. So that's why. Okay, here we go. So we're going to do, okay. Let me ask you something. If I'm going to admit I walk on eggshells with this reading and a couple of times when I read for you, because I know that you have a sensitive topic. And I have always been that way with you. You may not know that. For example, I knew that you were, before you said anything, but it was not my place, I'm very respectful. I feel that a person talks about things when they're ready, and if I do see things in your reading, I'm sure, since you have anxiety, you say, that you have a very hard time verbalizing certain things. Now, being a Gemini, I also know you're going to blurt things out very, very blunt sometimes. Be like, oh, I have no problem, I'll say it. But in other areas, you might be very delicate. So I don't want to verbalize anything too much because I don't know, I don't want to make you uncomfortable, being that you do have a trauma. You see what I'm saying? Be open? Okay. Okay. Can you go ahead and meet me on YouTube? Because this is very censored. And I may have to say some things that are not available to be said here, allowed to be said on the censorship. All right, I'll wait for you. I'm on there now. Yeah, the CLIC, you can't even say it. Yeah, on this one, it's the new rules. You can't say it. But the thing like that on my menu, it's on there. That's why I do my free crystal ball yes and no on here, TikTok, and then I fulfill my readings on there because of the high censorship. I want to be able to give comfortable readings. Hey guys, I'm just waiting for my client on YT so I can fulfill their reading. On TikTok, I do free yes and no crystal ball, but when I'm doing a tarot, I do it over there because of the censorship. FYI. I don't see you. I don't want to sign off here because of the recording of the reading. I want to make sure. Oh, you didn't meet me over there on YT? Oh, I was waiting for you on YT. I can't say the name. It's part of the policy. They don't allow it. You know, on my menu, because I can't say my, it's the new rules on here. You know the menu where you got the tarot? If you go to that menu where you got the tarot, you will see, oh, I see what you're saying. I got you, I got you. You are on there. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It's just that I want to be, you know, my readings sound like bumper stickers and Tarzan English when I do it on TikTok. I want to be able to speak freely. Well, as long as you can hear me, because I have to sign off on this so that I'm not heard on this. All right, so I do have to sign off, but I don't want to sign off till you're comfortable. Till you figure it out. I think if you hit the plus sign, doesn't it allow you to, okay, you can hear me? All right. Does anybody know how to comment on there? What button it is? I don't know. I don't know how to do it because I'm never on the comment side. I'm always on the streaming side. So, but I think if you just met oh, you know what? The buttons, maybe it's the drop down menu. Maybe there's like a keyboard or something. I see George Taurus. George Taurus. And I see Jennifer Morales. Hi, Jennifer. How are you? Hi, Georgie. I don't see you on there. Are you sure you're on? Are you sure you're on my thing? The LINK is on there. It's the button. Oh boy, what an enigma. Yeah, because I don't see you on there. I only see Jennifer and George. I only see 2 people on there. All right, I'm going to continue, and then when it's time to read, I'll... Oh, good, good, good. Hey guys, I'll be back. I have to sign off. Bye guys, I'll be back. I just, uh-oh. I think there's an internet problem. Hang on. Oh no, that's okay. Can you still hear me? Are we still good? The volume and everything? Okay, great. I'm sorry, the censorship is crazy on there. The other day I told someone, hey, can you send me, she was asking about how to buy a reading in my bio and stuff. And I said, oh yeah, just click the link. And she said, is it on Instagram? And I said, no, it's not on Instagram. And then right there, I got slapped with a thing that said, you are misleading people off our platform. That's against our policy. And then we got as streamers, there was this thing we got. Anyway, I'll spare you. Let's just get to the reading. But yes, it's very annoying. I was like, I'm not dealing with this. You can't say anything. Yeah. All right. So this is a general reading. And it is, like I told you, it can bring up a lot of things. That's why I said, yeah, you sure you want general? Okay, here we go. This brings up a man that you were dealing with. Maybe he was an Aquarius. His sign in particular doesn't matter. A lot of times people are not aware of the accurate sun, moon, and rising or stelliums, which are the identities. But yes, this is Aquarian. So this is more of a rebellious nature. And so this brings up a man in your past, in your love life. Okay. So if you're single right now, this brings up someone you were romantically involved with, and this was in the past. The feeling that brings you, I guess, into the present is talking about, I think, like backstabbed or, you know, there's a lot of heavy weight on you. This could be the anxiety, but this is mixed with experiences, fears. There's a lot there, okay? There's also another part here. How should I say? I would say this brings up a very Taurus energy. It's either a new love you could be involved with, which the way that they seem to me is very Taurus. And I know that's not going to mean anything to you because they don't necessarily have to be a Taurus. It means that that's their energy. So it's someone that needs a lot of focus, a lot of attention, and they kind of are bossy in a way, but you being Gemini, you're very direct. So there could be some issues there with the Gemini and Taurus. If you are not involved with someone, it can also bring up the other topic, which would be a female, which I know is a not really a. It's not really. It brings up the female in a different perspective, not because of your love life, but because of other things. But I don't want to go that route. It also goes into the next thing, which is the near future. And I see you mingling with other romantic connections. So this means that you're not going to stay with one focus. So already this is a love reading in a way, because it brings up a guy in the past that you felt like you couldn't really keep or you couldn't really hold on to. The direction of that had its own speed and it just didn't stick. There are a lot of underlying fears, and there is another male that is very bossy. Not like bossy, just they're very demanding. They're very demanding in the way they are. Like they like things in a particular way. They have a very strong sense of saying, I like this, I don't like that, I want it like this. That's what I mean by that. And then I also see your love life mingling and picking up, which means that you're going to be, either dating or flirting or getting involved with other energies, because I don't see a relationship, forming with just one person committed. I see multitude of energy. So if you're wondering where your love life is headed, I would say it's headed towards the mingling, right? There's going to be more potential suitors, more people coming your way with all of that. So I would say it's divided energy. It doesn't mean that something doesn't happen with the Taurus. I see that you at this point have multiple connections. Now, you're probably a relationship type, probably, right? So you want something just one-on-one committed, it seems like. But it seems like that doesn't fit right now. It seems like you're going to have a multitude of connections. In other words, maybe something with this person and often on something with that person, not really knowing the clear future with that other person. And that's what it seems like to me for now. Are we good so far, or do you want more, want me to? Okay. Now, the person in the past, okay, the person in the past that I describe as Aquarian, because they're very unique. They express themselves in a way that's not your average. They could blurt something out and you could say, did you really say that? They are like the rebel, the bad boy, the rebel. They're different. They're unique. And you can't really figure them out. And you can't really, go with the flow with that person. There was a lot of things that were very, that would flow directly. But there's a lot of things that, it hits some walls. And I think that the fact that you always wondered, because the commitment level of that person, it's not that they wake up and they're secretive, but they kind of are. Where the Taurus is someone that you can see yourself with. The Taurus energy, this other person, they do seem like they're here. I'm here right now. Like I'm very present in this moment. I love the experience. I love spices and fragrances, and I love, I love to enjoy. I want more, right? And that's their energy. So I do see that they are, but at the same time, I see you drained later. So it's too much, at least for now. That means it can evolve into something. Right, that's exactly what I'm saying to you. I don't think that long-term would be good. That's correct. But that doesn't mean that it can't pick up later, because I do see something interesting with this connection. But I agree, there's definitely chemistry. But I think the timing for both of you is a bit off. But yes, and I don't see that person leaving the picture completely. I see it can pick up later. All right. 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 And the thing is that they probably don't feel the same way that you do. Because this person wants to set roots. They want to know. You know, they're very like, well, is it or not? You know, they're very present in the moment. You know, and they're very decisive. Like, yes, this is it. And they could be very easily offended or hurt or yeah. Yeah. Right. That's correct. And we know that that scares you. We know that that scares you. I don't know if you are aware, but I am aware that, you know, I know you're a very different man from the young kid I met. I realize that. But I do remember your energy changing and you changing. And I know the commitment scares you. It's something that you want and you seek out, but it scares the crap out of you. Every time someone's not interested, Zach, you follow them more, you pursue them more. Every time someone's really into you, it scares the shit out of you. You know that, right? It's like you want to run away. That's a you thing. You got to work on that. Okay, so like I said, I do see the love life opening. So that means that there are new connections coming in. It's like, oh God, he wants a commitment. Oh shit, okay, time to pack. Bye. It's like, hello, Zach, isn't that what you wanted a month ago? I'm just saying. Okay, now let's talk about the things that you're aware of. You are aware that there's going to be someone, maybe it's the Taurus guy, I'm not sure, but you are aware, this is something that you are aware of, that you're going to be pursued heavily by somebody. It could be this Taurian energy man. So I don't know his chart, but chances are he's got heavy Taurus in there. No matter what his sun sign is. Do you know his sun sign? I know he's got heavy Taurus in his chart. I just don't know. His sun sign is fine if you know it. Not a problem. Most guys don't. No, that's okay. That's okay. I was reading for this male couple. They're married. And they didn't know each other's signs. And I was like, isn't that like a normal thing that you're supposed to know? And they're like, no. It's a guy thing. They're like, I don't know. Okay, anyway, you don't have to check. It's no big deal. But anyway, I believe that they're going to be pursuing you more. I miss you. I want to see you. It's like the sticky. Let's call it like a sticky, you know, when it was something like sticks on you, sticky, sticky, sticky. That's how I see it. And it's a person then getting upset. Why don't you answer? Why, you know, I realize you had this conversation with them. I understand that. But I'm seeing that someone tries to really be in the picture. So what am I saying? I'm saying that this shows that you're going to be heavily pursued very soon. Maybe it's a day, maybe it lasts 3 days, maybe it's a week, maybe it's a month, maybe it becomes a headache. I'm not sure, but you know, you do deal with that theme, okay? Let's talk about something you're not aware of. There is someone popping in to, I believe someone's attracted to you that maybe you work with. They are a little bit younger than you. And you know, you're not, I believe this person's not sure of what they want, you know? Have you been dealing with anyone that is not sure and they're experimental, but they're not sure? Because this seems to me like a person that they're just getting to that moment where they're just, you know, the curiosity. Also, I heard a name, Jonathan. Do you know a Jonathan? I realize I asked like a bunch of side questions there, but anyway, that's what I'm getting at. I'm getting at it's like, it's, in other words, I see someone dealing with you and you're not really you're not aware of this. Okay, you know a Jonathan. Do you work with them? There's something specific about the Jonathan. I would say that the message is yeah, okay. It could be him because when I laid that card down, I heard that name. All right. But just be aware. Okay, I got you. Be aware because this can be a decision that, you know, you end up having to make. So he's older. Okay, this person, so it could be two different messages wrapped in one because I'm looking I'm looking at what you're not aware of. So if we were to make separate side notes, I would say pay attention to someone younger than you, not by much, that is interested and they're not like comfortable with dating. They're kind of just new to it in a way. And there's something about them that they are eligible with your age and everything. I mean, in other words, obviously. So it's just like a year or something, you know, but, or two, that would be it. You know, and when you deal with them, it's like you feeling like, yeah, I'm not feeling it because this person, they're just in a different place, and I exceed that in what I feel in my life right now, and I don't feel we really merge because I don't want to take on the teacher role or like you know, I don't want to take on that role. Like there's something exhausting about what it would require. I don't know how to explain it. It could be. It could be because he's younger and his name starts with a J. It could be. It could be. Here's the message. Like, let's say I didn't know what you told me. I would say to you, which is the way that I work. I usually tell the person the message whether I know something or not. So the outcome of this is me telling you that you're going to be in a situation very soon where you have to make a decision on what direction to take with that connection. So either you're going to excel in your connection with Jonathan, which I believe you should, just side note, you should see what's there, explore that, okay? But besides that, you're either going to be in a scenario where you start seeing more development with the Jonathan connection, and then that's going to lead you to this decision, or you're going to reach a decision point with the one that's a bit far away. Because I see you in a situation where you're like, you know what? I'm going to go this way, not that way, with my choices. You know, I'm either going to cut the connection or I'm going to get closer, or maybe we're going to cross this threshold. Maybe I heard something about his shady background. Maybe there's something, I don't know. And I see you at a pressing matter where you say yay or nay. That's the whole message. And you're not aware of it right now. I still believe, no matter what, that you should try to see what's there with the Jonathan connection, even if it's just more conversation, taking it maybe a little bit deeper, besides what I said. I hope I was clear. Okay, now, I do see that there is a fear that's involved here with marriage and a deep relationship. We already discussed that you have that fear anyway, but now we're talking about something more profound. You know, it's almost like you want marriage at some point. You want a deep commitment. You want a partnership. You want something really long term. Am I still on the internet? I have a connection disruption on my other device. Do you still hear me? I might be running on cellular. Just doing a mic check test. Okay, thank you. All right. So I do see that there's a fear here with something with paperwork. And relationships. So what can that be? That can be having a lease with someone. It's a big step. It can be whether it's platonic or not, you know, or romantic, because it's still talk about paper. I don't know why a fear's coming up with paperwork and something committed. All right. It can be romantic, or it can be just a scenario where you're afraid and there's papers. It can be because I'm seeing that this is, you know, it can be that something disrupts your school. I don't know if you're in school. It can be that something disrupts your credit, your finances. It can be that, which I don't feel it's fully financial. I feel it's more commitment though, you know, personally, the way that I'm feeling this. You know, and also like, what would a marriage look like? Like what would it really look like? And what would be at stake. So it's a long-term thing, but it's still showing up. Why is that? Because today the fear exists at multiple levels, and then tomorrow brings you living through those things. So you can have a fear that's been there, you know, embedded for years, and it really won't be developed until you reach that point in your life. But the fear is still showing up in your energy. You see? So that's why it comes up. All right. Now, let's talk about a couple other things. So I do see that you have two energies near you that are not good. One of them is a person kind of like sucking energy from you. So this can be a friend, a relative, a romantic partner. This is coming. This is not here yet. This is like, some of it can be in the workings, but this is like future, near future, like what's next, right? So it talks about you being betrayed in some way, and this is maybe on a friendship level. Maybe this is someone repeating what you said, and you're like, wow, you know, can you just tell it to my face? I told you that in confidence, you know. It can be posting something without your approval, being dramatic, you know, and you having to deal with that, like, oh my God, how rude. That's you're acting like you're 12. Are you kidding me? Where's your maturity level? And then it also talks about a person being overwhelming to you. Like you dealing with someone that's just way too much. Like it's draining you and upsetting you. It could be somebody that doesn't want to let go, you know? I think that this is still love. It feels very love related to me. I feel that where it's going after that experience in the future that continues on the timeline, I feel that where it's headed is you having to unfortunately lie to someone. Now, you're not a liar, you're very truthful. Although Gemini is, I'm just kidding. No, but generally, if you could just be honest and just forthcoming, that's great. That's more your style. But I see you having to lie to deal with a complicated situation. So that means that there's something that it's like when you're dealing with two people with two different stories. So you're double dealing. You're dealing with one person because they need to be in your life, or they're serving this, like they're in your life at that point. And then you're dealing with another person that you text or call, or they call you. And I see that you have to kind of lie because something critical is going to be going on. And sometimes it's not cut or dry. You don't like erase everyone on your address or contacts just because you're talking to one. People call in, hey, how are you? I was 3 months ago. That's true. It could be, but this is, this is directly has an impact on your love life as well. So it's like when you're in a scenario where you have to deal with someone, but then at the same time, they're to keep them in check so that you stay sane, you got to tell them a lie for, it's one of those things. I'm not saying, oh, you're a liar, you're just so, corrupt. No, it's a complicated situation. And that situation is showing up in this reading. And it can be platonic with it, but there's a romantic entanglement too. That means either the roommate's trying to get in your relationship, or the relationship doesn't get along with this one, or there's something where you're in a pressured moment. Oh, I see. It could, yeah, but I get it. So one has a crush on you, and he's in a relationship. I got you. But that's not exactly what I'm seeing. I mean, yes, that scenario exists, but since you're not involved with it, and there's a romantic involvement in what I'm seeing, it lets me know that that particular situation is not the one highlighted, right? So the one I'm seeing is where you deal with someone who is a romantic connection and someone else, and there's like something complicated where you got to realize it's not a big deal. There's not a lot of drama here. Your life seems pretty organized. I mean, I'm sure you might think it's chaotic sometimes, but it just seems very, when a person doesn't have a huge amount of problems, I think you've heard me say this before, you're not going to get a very dramatic reading. You're just going to get reading on all your little things that matter to you. So I'm not saying, oh my God, you're going to be in this huge problem with this other person. No, I'm saying, this shows up. That's what it is. And you deal with it, and then you go on to the next thing. So in a way, it's good because there's nothing too dramatic, but at the same time, you're going to be dealing with, in order, you're going to be dealing with a little bit of betrayal, a little bit of being overwhelmed, a person that doesn't want to let go, saying one thing to cover up something else to stay sane because of demanding needs. It just means you're surrounded by a lot of human drama, but your life is fine. That's how I see it. Let me see something else. There is something very, I'm going to deal with that part of the reading last. Have you tried to practice? The reading is showing me that you have tried or wanted to or tried to practice certain types of magic. Something spiritual. Have you tried that in the past 6 months? Something that you've tried to do? It could also be paying other people to do stuff. Maybe there's something you're trying to alleviate for yourself with magic, something spiritual, candles, spells, anything like that. is showing in the read. Doesn't have to be spells on someone. It could be just to help you. And this is what this talks about. Have you done anything like that? I mean, if you have, great. If you haven't, great. Whatever. It's just coming up. Okay. Okay. So I check for that. Maybe I'm a little sneaky for that, but I do check for those kinds of things. You know me. I'm a magical practitioner. I'm like, what are they up to? What are they doing that I need to know? So I did a little sneak peek, and I had to, because sometimes people could be doing a lot of crap. I only do that, honestly, just because I want to ensure the person's aligned. So let me tell you a couple of things. I like the way you feel spiritually. You seem to me very aligned. I check for that too. And I believe that you should keep growing in your spirituality. I believe that you have your traditional faith, which you should keep practicing. And I believe that there's a lot for you to grow in spiritually. I think I've always told you that. You're very spiritual. Keep exploring, because it seems like you do things with the right intention. You don't seem like someone to me that goes to a dark place. You seem to me like someone who's very logical, to solve an issue, or for something for good. I like that about you, so I'm not worried. I like it. I like where you take it, because obviously you are, in a good place spiritually, and I check for that definitely. I think it would be sloppy if I didn't check that, right? If I'm reading for someone, and especially, in a way I've been at least one of your spiritualists in the past, so I think it would be proper. Yeah, exactly. I believe that you should keep exploring your spirituality forever. I would love to see you grow in your spirituality, and take it to a good place like you do. So that definitely is good for you. It's going to help you with a lot of things. That being said, there is one other thing that's extra in the reading. It kind of doesn't, like the reading, the general reading is finished. I would say, oh wait, no. There's one more. No, it's connected to the thing I want to go to. Okay, hang on. To sum up the reading, I think it's very love-based, and I don't see problems. I just see you flowing along to the next thing. Oh, wait. There is something. Yes. Before I get to the last topic, which is actually an extra thing besides the reading I wanted to throw in there for you. This is a thing I forgot before that last thing. There is someone hiding a love spell to you. Might be the roommate that likes you. Obviously it's not working. Or maybe it hasn't been enough time, because some love spells, okay, let me break it down. Usually love spells take a couple of months to build and grow and release, when you cast and release. Depends on the signature of the magical practitioner, but anyway, without getting into that whole thing, I'm just saying to you that someone has done a love spell on you. And I don't think you know it. In fact, I know you don't know it, so I'm telling you now. So just be aware if you start feeling, let me see something. Okay. So I was checking to see if maybe that was the cause of the anxiety, but the answer is it's not. I didn't think so, but I just, to be very thorough, leave no stone unturned kind of thing, I had to ask. So the answer is no. It is not that. And I really don't see it stirring you too much. Obviously, you're very aligned, you know, very spiritually clean, you're very aligned. So you're fine, but it's good to know because it's still not right. It's still kind of like not, if they're not in a relationship with you, I guess it's not okay. I mean, if you were in a relationship and you were in a sour patch and they wanted to do something like that, okay, they love you, you know, it's a different thing. But if you're not into something with them and they want it, then it's manipulation. Then it's weird. Because one, if you're in the relationship with somebody and you're having a bad, you know, and you do that, yeah, you know, it's not the best thing, but maybe the person did it because there's so much love and they're afraid. Okay, that's fine. But when you're not in that, then it's manipulation, and that's not cool. So, yeah, and I see you have not been with this person. So there's like been no, it could be the roommate. It could be the one that likes you. That's tricky, but it doesn't matter. I don't see it being very effective, and I think the only reason it showed up in the reading is because I went looking for stuff like that. I went looking for maybe things you didn't know. It didn't come up like a pressing matter, like, oh my God, clean yourself. No, it's silly. But I think it's important from a psychological perspective to have your mind aware, you know what, that's foul play. That's not cool. That's not honest. All right, so, okay. Now it comes to something else. One second, which is the last part of the reading. Okay, so the reading, again, this is not part of the general because the general was already finished. This is just extra things. And when I open up extra things just to see what's there because it's general, I don't know where I'm going. I bump into like hidden stuff. I didn't mean to. But this kind of, you don't have to address it if you don't want to, but this talks about you having money saved and that you don't tell people about. Not that you save money and say, hey, I have this much saved. That's ridiculous. Obviously, it's a personal thing. But this is like when a person has it very private. In other words, the way they treat their finances are more private than normal, which that means that there's a reason for it. So maybe there's something you're planning. And you're gonna jump into a situation in your future very near with your money where, yeah, of course, where you might say to yourself, should I use it for this or should I not? Wait, should I? No, that's not smart. It took me a really long time to save this. No, I should. And I just looked for anything that can really affect you and your stability. That's what I was looking for. And it shows a financial decision. And because of that, it uncovered that, you know, your own personal finances is something like it's what lets you sleep at night. Like in other words, that's what has been the solution to a lot of your worries that you have has been, you know, your finances. And this shows that they can be jeopardized. So if you have a savings going on, be very aware in the future, the rest of 2025 and a good chunk of 2026 of a scenario that can arise where you make a financial decision because it's talking about maybe making the wrong one. So if something is too stressful on the pocket, don't do it. Not that you would, because you are bright with money, but you got to be careful. What was your rising again, Zach? Do you remember your rising sign? Yeah, and it's really tricky because, you know, I see you in oh, okay, I have it written down somewhere. I'll look it up for you because remember I did your chart. Actually, we should go over your chart on something if you have a question. I remember the times I was doing those, I had a style that people would, yeah, now I record everything and I have a library so people can go back and listen to it. And before, after 90 days, you know, it would, you know, and I wouldn't keep stuff. And now I do. So maybe we could go over it one of these days since you got it, you know, a long time ago. And I can address some of your astrology questions. Yeah, that would be a good thing. All you have to do is email me your top 5 astrology questions and I will address them from your chart without a problem. I'll go over your stuff. I also have free series I'm doing on my TikTok feed where I got the Vertex one, the Lunar one, and the Identities one, which are really cool if people want to find out. So other than that, the decision might be a trip as well. So in other words, what I'm saying is that there's going to be this situation coming up between the next 6 months or so, maybe 8, but I'm feeling more 6, where you can say, should I pay for that trip? Should I go ahead and do that? And the answer is no, don't. It doesn't mean don't go on a trip. I'm talking about when it takes money, resources that you don't really want to spend, but you're not sure. The reading is telling you, don't. Wait. That's all it's saying to you. No, you're not a Taurus. No, silly goose. You're a Gemini. For sure. You used to think you were a Cancer. That I remember. And I said, you're not a Cancer. And then I did your chart. I was like, you're a Gemini. I just don't remember your moon or rising. Oh, rising Taurus. Maybe it suits you. It suits you. Do you carry weight on your butt and thighs? I'm very direct. Taurus men have to be careful with having chunky butt and chunky thighs. Taurus men have a weight thing where, I mean, you could be lean. You know, there's a lot of lean Tauruses, but they gotta watch it because they'll pack on weight on the butt and thighs and the hips. Okay, fair enough. The Gemini side of you was like, no, we're going to be very athletic here. Thank you very much, Taurus. Okay, it might not be Taurus though. I will definitely look it up. I will definitely, if you want, I know I'm really bad at getting back with texts. I try because I have so many backed up. But text me your birth information again. I'll look it up and I'll have I'll go one of these days when you're on the stream. I'll just go over your chart, or maybe I can pre-record it. Yeah, I could do that. I could pre-record it for you and have it on there if you want. All right. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, look that up. I would say that's it for the read. I'm sure we can get into so many things, but this was a general. I didn't really know where I was going. Nothing seems too bad, but you get an idea of what's happening. That's pretty much what it is mingling this, mingling that, and being aware that you don't use a large amount of your resources in the future. Don't. Other than that, the magic seems good. I think that you should be very careful who you trust. I don't say that lightly. And I really feel that the advice I have for you are 2 things. You know, I feel that you really need to start connecting to your spirit guides. Seriously, connect to your spirit guides. You need to find out, you know, I coach, but I know it can get like time consuming and, you know, expensive for some people, but I get that. But I'm just saying, in your own way. I mean, obviously, if you end up with a hard, situation with that, I'll always help you. But try to do it on your own and see how it works, because you need to grow. The other advice, and let me tell you why you need to grow in that. It's because when you are in an intuitive moment, you're going to feel more information come to you than just your intuitiveness. You in particular. I'm talking about specifically you, the way that you operate. Because you have a very logical sense of understanding your spirituality. You're very like, is it like this? Is it like this? You're very structured. So you need more. Oh, right. I mean, I could check if there's something like something else. Let me be clear. I'm not checking for accidents. I'm not checking for medical problems. I'm not checking for, I'm not checking for any of that, because this is just very, it doesn't seem like there's anything like that. God forbid, knock on wood. But it seems like what it is really money and choices, spiritual stuff, love. I don't see any like drastic stuff. Usually when I do a general and there's an issue, I do see it right away. I will admit that. 9 times out of 10. I'm not looking for it. But yeah, I would say, I mean, I'll check. Yeah, nothing pressing right now. Not forever, just right now. And you gotta be aware of who you drive with, but not because of any kind of accident or anything. This is all social, like social and romantic connections. That's where the focus is here. But everything seems smooth. All right, so I checked. The last piece of advice that I have for you is, you got to work on that fear you have. You really do. You got to work on that fear. It's not good for you. You're very money driven, goal driven. It's very important for you. I get it. You're going to have the big house, but it's not about the money. You really have to, I know your future goals is to make it. I need to make it. I need to shine. I need to make it. I get it. I hear you. I see that. But you gotta really make this love stuff work. And I think you block a lot of things. I think it comes from your upbringing. I know you have the dad issue and stuff, which maybe it got better. I know there's not a lot of communication with the mom. I mean, there is, but not like deeply. I know that. I know stepdad's important. I get that. Matter of letting the past go and forward. Oh, of course. Oh, no. Of course. Yeah, I know that. I know that you're very proactive in healing. And I know that. Definitely. But besides your process and all of that, which is wonderful that you're on that path, that journey, besides your healing journey, I would say you still got to work on, not blocking things so much, so detached, so detached. Yeah. It comes from a lot of things. It comes from afraid to, tell people in the past, afraid to tell people what you were feeling, afraid to be ridiculed, afraid to be accepted. Even deeper than that, it comes from, the father and not, what the mother's expectations are, the pressure from the family. feeling uncomfortable when you started dating. There's a lot. There's a lot at the root that maybe later you shake off and keep developing and growing and getting older, but there's a lot that's in the base, in the foundation, you know, plus the experiences and all of that. And it's heavy, and it's heavy, and it's very valid. But you gotta be stronger and say, why am I detached? Why am I doing that? I know what, you know, I have to connect deeper. I have to be vulnerable sometimes, you know, because I want the result. And it's all from asking yourself, what do I really want? You know, when it comes down to it, what do I really, really want? Let me see something. So I'm going to give you some, my 2 cents on something. Disclaimer, I am not giving you medical advice, nor nutritional or psychological, but I'm just going to give you my 2 cents as your spiritualist. I feel Exactly. So you got to stop the pattern somehow. Now, I will say something to you. This is just my hunch spiritually. Again, not a diagnosis or anything like that. I believe that your anxiety, besides obviously understanding the real stuff, conditions, triggers, all of that, you know, I believe that it is being aggravated by your diet. I can tell you are not eating whole foods. So if you're gonna eat grains, organic, you know, the best type of rice would be purple, because brown can have arsenic, white is pure sugar, yellow is refined and dyed, you know. Right, I can tell if you're having you know, it's lean protein and vegetables and fruits. I can tell that you have stuff made out of packages in factories and fried. That's not a way to go. So I suggest that you see the you know, spend a week on salads and, you know, fruit bowls and maybe like some green juice. I suggest you do like something healthy for yourself like that, because you're gonna see you purge some of the, you're gonna see, I believe it's being aggravated by your diet, personally. And if you're on any caffeine, be caffeine free, not even decaf. You know, stick to like, you know, water. Water for, you know, put lemon in it and some berries. But just see how you feel after a week of just doing that for your body, for yourself. You're going to see you're going to feel a hell of a lot better. That's not good. That's not good. It can make you dizzy. It can have mold in it, which you may not see. It can have metals in it, microplastics. You're really drinking ash. You're really drinking brewed ash. It's the burnt ash made with a lot of oils and chemicals. It tastes really good. I limit my decaf to once or twice a week, and that's a decaf, and sometimes not at all. I'm a water person, and I love organic herbal teas. So teas I brew myself that are just herbal. They're nothing of caffeine. You gotta relax. That anxiety is through the frickin' roof. Stop it. Stop that coffee. All right? Just saying. Make yourself a green juice. All right, sweetheart. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. All right, guys. Let's see. Priscilla's asking any advice for your situation. Oh, okay. I don't give advice unless you pay for a reading. They are $25. I do yet free yes and no crystal ball on TikTok every day. You're more than welcome to get a free yes and no. That's an answer to a question. But when it comes to looking at the past, present, future, know what to do, you know, kind of guidance, clarity, those are tarot. All right. And my tarots start at 25. All right, sweetheart. Thank you so much. All right. Bye, guys.